Hello and welcome to the screencast session. In this video, I will be walking through my submission to Hack the Planet Hackathon, which is organized by the Relicans community. And I'll walk through my solution and also show how I have used a few of the features of New Relic 1 in order to gain observability over my solution. So let's get started. This is an app that I have built, and I call it a climate dashboard. We will walk through it step by step and check all the features through it. Basically, it provides us observability over a few climate changes that have occurred throughout the years, and also gives us some insight into the current weather phenomena that are occurring all around the planet. And towards the end, we'll also look at some solutions that we can implement in order to kind of reverse the damage that has got done over the years. So what we see here right now, we are on the CO2 concentration page, wherein we see the concentration of carbon dioxide by parts per million in the atmosphere, which is plotted in a series chart. So we see that there has been a kind of a gradual increase right from 1959 to 2017. Now, in order to get this data, I have plotted the data from two popular studies. One is the Mauna Loa study, and another one is a global average study. So both of these independent studies kind of point out the same pattern in the rise of carbon dioxide ppm concentration in the atmosphere. If we check, if it's not apparent in this graph on such a small y-axis about the increase in the CO2 annually, then this graph which is there, again it points out the amount of increase that happened in the levels of CO2. And as we can see, like as we move towards farther away towards the right from 1990s, we see that these towers keep getting higher and higher, which means that the carbon dioxide concentration ppm is going higher, both according to the Mauna Loa study as well as the global average study. We get somewhat similar results. um, Next, we can check out the carbon emissions tab. So here, what I have done is laid out the carbon emission in metric tons from historical API. So if we look at it, we go from nearly nothing from the late 1800s to a slow gradual increase, and then towards the end there is an exponential increase that we see. And we see that this trend is consistent with most of the countries. So what we can do on these graph is toggle through the countries and then kind of see the data for each individual country about how the carbon emission of those countries in metric tons kind of increased gradually in the beginning and then exponentially towards the end. Now, this carbon emission takes care of the total carbon emissions, which is the solid fuel, that is coal, etc., and the liquid fuel, which is the enhanced products like petroleum, diesel. If we want to look up at the data, particularly for liquid fuel, to kind of observe that yes, the dependency on liquid fuel has been increasing rapidly, we can check this graph, and we can see a country wise dependency on liquid fuels, basically in countries like Saudi, wherein it just keeps on going up at a maybe a higher rate than the total consumption, as the liquid fuel dependency is higher in those countries. So this UI kind of paints that picture, which is about the carbon emissions. Now, as an impact of this carbon emission, we can check the impact that it has taken on the planet Earth. So this historical data, which measures the increase in sea level in inches. So what we can see, the baseline, which is at around 1880, which is considered taken to be zero, and then we initially see a dip. But then towards 2014, wherein the last data point of this study was taken into consideration, we see almost an 8-inch increase. It's almost a 9-inch increase, which is 8.98 inches in sea level, which means that due to these carbon emissions, due to these CO2 concentration, it's leading to sort of a global warming effect there, and which is leading to the sea levels to increase. A corresponding downward trend can be seen in the glacier mass. Now, uh, this can be logically explained, saying that yes, the sea levels are increasing. And how are they increasing? It's the mass that is trapped at the poles of the earth, in the form of glaciers. Now, as the temperature goes up, then if the sea level is increasing and such at such a rate, we see a correlation in the glacier mass, which is going down. So right from 1945, wherein the study started, towards 2014, we see a negative 28 points drop in the glacier mass. And if we compare these two graphs, they are kind of in correlation to each other. Now, because of all these long-term climate changes that have occurred over the time, we see that it has taken a toll on the weather phenomenon that is occurring across the planet. And this page highlights all the weather phenomena that are currently going on the planet by taking the data from the NASA API. So we see here that the event, along with the category of the event and map location of the event. So right now there's a tropical cyclone that is going on, which we see from this emoji. Now, if I want to look where the tropical cyclone is going on, I can check that it's occurring somewhere in this South Asian region here. And the date of start of that phenomenon was 26th February 2021, and it's still undergoing. We can see that it's a tropical cyclone Marian. Now, similarly, if we want to get more details about the event, we just click on the link, and we get to a page wherein we have the details about that event. So if I want to get more info about this tropical cyclone, so I come to this page, which is a GDAX page, which is tracking the cyclone, and I can get more information here. um, Similar to that, if I want to see where this wildfire is occurring, so this wildfire is occurring in Florida and started around 23 February 2021. Florida commune, Chile, and it's a wildfire, which we see from this emoji. So this page provides information about all these kind of anomalies that have been going on with respect to icebergs, with respect to volcanoes. So there is some phenomenon going on around this volcano, which if we want to see the location, we can click on this map, and we can see the volcano location. So this is the events page, which shows the direct impact on our day-to-day life due to the long-term climate changes that have occurred over such a huge duration of time. Now, we can do something. We can do a few things to reverse these, and it is high time that we do that. So let's check what are those. So I've integrated a green check API provided by the Green Check Foundation into this dashboard to kind of find out which are the sites that are hosted green according to the definition of Green Web Foundation. You can check out more information about that by visiting the Green Web Foundation link. But basically, it's just that if we if we type if we type a URL into the box, and if we say search, then it gives us the result whether the infrastructure on which this site is hosted, whether it's green or not. So we get a result here saying this site is green, which means www.google.com is hosted on a green platform, which does not contribute much to the which does not deteriorate the climate according to the standards that are set by the Green Web Foundation. If we check example.com, we see that this site is gray, which which means that okay, the deployment where this example.com is hosted might not be such an eco-friendly one. So this site gives so if you are someone who is a developer who is hosting sites, then this gives more clarity into where you should be hosting your site, where you should be getting your domain, so that you are contributing towards a greener planet and not leading towards the deterioration of it. Along with this, there are other ways that if you are, let's say, not a developer, there are other ways that you can contribute to the reversing this climate damage. And on this page we list out a few of the steps that can be taken in order to reverse this effect. So there is erase your carbon footprint, there is plant a tree foundation, there is restore the forest. So these are the links that provide us the small steps which can be taken by us, small steps but necessary steps nevertheless, in order to tackle the climate change and to reverse, so sort of reverse our carbon footprints, plant trees, and then reforestation, which brings back the forest patches. So contributing to these causes, even though in the form of small steps, will lead to slowly reversing the damage that has happened through so many years of industrialization and global warming, etc. So this is a dashboard which gives an entire view into all these historical data, the current events, and the role that we can take, the steps that we can take to reverse those. Another thing that is worth mentioning here is that this entire application that I have developed is completely mobile friendly. So if we click inspect and if we go to the mobile view, we see that let me refresh. So we see that it is completely compatible with the mobile layout. So the nav bar nicely goes behind this, on the left side, and then we can toggle it using this button. These cards lay out properly according to the width, and even the some things like the NASA event API, the map view for the NASA event API, all of those kind of scale pretty well to the mobile user interface. And even the graphs and charts which are there, so they properly scale with respect to the mobile view. So let me now explain a little bit about the New Relic side of things, and let me explain the configurations that have I have made over the process of developing this app, and also which I plan on keeping for the entire duration of the time while this site is live, in order to gain kind of an observability over the behavior of my application. So I love the way that this graph just comes off by default when I open the summary page for my app, which is Hack the Planet. I see that this graph comes up, and the beauty of it is that it kind of separates the time taken by the web transaction. A web transaction is an API. The time taken by the transaction in web external, which means that, so I'm using a node layer here to call in the external APIs which I used for all the dashboard, the graph, the NASA event, etc. So it tells me the green is the one that is the external and node is the blue. So we see quite a peculiar tower here at around which is around yesterday's time IST. And it I can see that it's taking quite a lot of time here in the node layer. So this is quite kind of interesting, and it led me to a pretty nice discovery of a bug that was happening on my end. So what I was thinking is, the green check API is taking a lot of time and then returning me a response quite late. But what happened was, when I enter a URL here, and if the URL is with HTTP, uh, www.google.com. So what I see is this along with this, because I supply it with a protocol which the green check API is not expecting, because of which the my API errors out on the node side. Now, without this observability that the API is taking so much time on the node side, I would never have got to know that it's an issue actually on my end, which I need to fix through maybe a catch block or a condition to check whether the API is a proper format or not. And due to the result of that, you can see this small little statement which explains to the user, type the URL without the HTTP. Now, this insight I got only when I looked at this data and saw that yes, the API is failing in the node layer. Along with that, I love this system of AppDex, which just assigns a score to the overall application performance. We can notice that around the time that I ran into the error, the AppDesk was quite low. So this is a quite an easy way, a zero setup way to kind of get a hold of how the entire web application is functioning at a given point of time. um, it's also separating the local testing instance along with the deployment instance which I have deployed on Heroku. So I get to know the different performance. So is there a bottleneck due to Heroku? If I want to know that, I can get to know by comparing these two numbers. um, that's about that. Main part of my application is the APIs, because I have been hitting several APIs from my node layer in order to get all the graphs, the mean CO2, the growth, the NASA events, the green check API. So these are all the different APIs that I am hitting. And the transactions screen is the one that is one of the prominence for me. So I come to this page now because of the issue that I ran into yesterday while testing the app, and because I wanted to stay one step ahead and gain more advanced observability over this, I thought I could implement some alert conditions for this, and I have set up a few basic alert conditions which I will share just now. The alert conditions, we will check, go to the policy. I created a policy for the entire Hack the Planet app, and I have added several alert conditions to it. So I can just walk through those one by one. Now, all these alert condition under this policy are notifying me through a mail which I have kind of configured here in the notification channel. Now, if we look at these bottom two ones, these are APM application metrics, which mean that they are alert condition based on the overall health of the app. So right in the beginning, when we saw on the summary page where we saw that on the summary page where we saw that we were getting a few key metrics like app decks and transaction time and all that. So I have put a alert condition on that. So the alert condition is the app decks is low, which is less than zero point 0.5 for at least 5 minutes, then I will get an alert on my mail. Similarly, I have put a high error rate application metric, which is on the overall application. So error percentage greater than 40% for at least 5 minutes, which means that even if there is a 5 minute downtime on my application, I will get an email on the spot, and then I can come to this dashboard and kind of check what led to that. Now, apart from that, these are the key transaction metrics which I have kind of customized for myself. So I can share how that came to be. I wanted to gain observability over these two particular APIs, as I can see that yes, they are eating out the majority of my app server time. So what I did is I converted them into key transactions. So I went to more key transactions, and then uh, I selected my application, which was the Hack the Planet application, and I selected the Green Check API and the NASA Events API and converted them into key transaction. What I can do once I create them into key transactions is that I can configure particular alert policies to actually look at the key transaction. So here is one: green check, high error rate. So to tackle something that happened yesterday, the scenario wherein the green check API was failing. So if the error percentage is greater than 60% for at least 5 minutes, or let's say the response time is greater than 3 seconds for 5 minutes. Now, how would I come up with that time of 3 seconds? So that is through again this main page wherein I go to the transactions, and I checked for the last 24 hours when I had got the error, and I could see that yes, during the error time, it consumes almost something along the lines of 3 seconds per transaction, so even greater than 3 seconds, so 3,3600 milliseconds. So I put a check on that. The next time the API takes more than 3 seconds, and this behavior repeats consistently for at least 5 minutes, I will again get a mail on my notification channel. So green check API is sorted in that manner. Next is the NASA Events API. Again, same thing. Now this API kind of aggregates the results from different sites, which is why it takes around 2.3 milliseconds, even though there is no error, there is no crash with respect to it. So I have put a check to just check whether the users visiting the site are getting an optimal performance or not. In order to check that, I've put 2 seconds for at least 5 minutes kind of a threshold for this. And doing this is pretty easy. Going into add condition, APM with, and then a key transaction metric, because I want to track a key transaction which is a particular transaction. And then I go to the NASA Events API, and then let's say I want to check the error percentage. So the error percentage has to be above, if the error percentage is above let's say 40% for consistently for 5 minutes, then I can say NASA error high. And then it means that this condition will trigger, and yes, so this NASA error high will hit and I will get a mail. So these are a few features, awesome features to gain hands-on observability over my platform that I have been using, and I will continuously keep monitoring my application using this. And when the user base grows, then this will kind of give me a better control, a better observability, and in turn a better control over all the features that I'm implementing. And uh, and in that way it's pretty awesome. So that was my walkthrough of my submission for the Relicans Hack the Planet hackathon. Hope you liked it. Do check out the climate dashboard. Do check out all the different charts, all the different insights that are being provided through these charts, and feel free to check the green check API for your favorite websites. Also, go ahead and contribute or join any one of these noble causes. I'll see if I can add more noble causes to this page as time goes on. Please suggest any that you have in mind by getting in touch with me. And thanks a lot to New Relic for providing this level of fine grained observability over the application by literally kind of no effort on the side of the user or the developer. That's quite awesome. Loved working on this project, loved integrating New Relic into it. So that's about it. Thank you.